Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today, let me tell you a bit about the remarkable history of our town, Greystone. A town where, about 20 years ago, crime festered like an unhealed wound. Dark alleys echoed with the footsteps of criminals, and the air always felt heavy with dread. Well, that was all going to change when from the faraway lands in India, a detective, Agent Sura, had arrived. He had a slightly broken nose. However, he almost always dressed impeccably, as did most of the men and women in Greystone, and as we still do, I guess. Nobody's sure whose agent or what was he an agent of, but we just called him Agent Sura. His presence was almost like a gust of fresh air. He didn't just think, he thought quite differently. He saw clues in places where they were not supposed to even exist, which made him solve crimes that baffled even the best brains of Greystone. The phrase, "put on a thinking cap," was coined after seeing him solve crimes wearing one. Detectives usually wore one, as you would all know, but you could say that the detectives that came after him put on a thinking cap. Whispers of his genius quickly filled Greystone. He was popular with kids and old people alike. People in general gushed over him as his fame spread rapidly. They spoke of his sharp eyes that missed nothing, of his intellect, of his peculiar way of finding clues where others saw nothing but chaos. One of his first cases remains legendary, the clockmaker's murder. The man was found hanging from the tower clock, and the town reeled in shock. But the detective noticed what everyone else missed. The time that was frozen on the clock, the time that the clock had ceased to work, 7:05 p.m., that was the time of death. It meant that the murderer would be fleeing the town from Greystone's outbound train at 8 p.m. Well, but not on Agent Sura's watch. Legend has it that when a couple of vampires were terrorizing the town during the nights, he confronted them and, quite simply, just pulled out their teeth. The vampires were left powerless thereafter and were nowhere to be seen. In general, he fell down many times, as was his style, or you can call it a bit of a quirk. But most importantly, he fell in love. However, falling in love was not the riskiest of his pursuits, as he risked his life several times in nabbing criminals. Among other things, he had a taste for single malt whiskey. while he played the violin beautifully, and dare I say better than that Sherlock guy, it was only when he played the piano that his mind found solutions to some of his cases. Another quirk that I am reminded of about him was that he would laugh at his own jokes, thereby prompting others around him to laugh as well. Anyway, back to business. Once it so happened that Greystone's graveyard was hiding a chilling secret. Oil was leaking from the graves, fueling rumors of ghosts, baffling the police constable. But Agent Sura unraveled the mystery. Oil drums were buried beneath the cemetery. A corrupt gravedigger had been illegally disposing of industrial waste beneath the cemetery. And then there was the case of the gambler's curse. A string of card players had gone bankrupt mysteriously. The detective uncovered a sinister plot by a skilled conman who manipulated card games. The detective immersed himself in the world of deceit by blending into the gambling scene, outsmarting the conman in his own game, and ultimately busting the racket. In the case of the Widow's Vengeful Game, a very rich man had died in mysterious circumstances. Agent Sura, as did everyone else, knew of the elderly widow's monetary gains after her husband's death, but he discovered incriminating evidence against her, right at the funeral of her husband, in the church where nobody thought to look. There were many such cases, and just to mention in passing, as some of you know how majestically, albeit casually, did Agent Sura unravel the peculiar happenings at the Opera House. Through these multiple trials, the agent pieced together not only the crimes, but the humanity behind them, his methods as empathetic as they were quirky. Justice returned to Greystone, etched indelibly by the man who thought differently. Greystone found redemption, and its stories became famous across the country, as did the lone detective from India who changed its destiny forever, Agent Sura. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.